Your hostas are starting to look tired. The bold, fresh leaves of early summer have gone a bit ragged, maybe chewed at the edges, maybe flopping, and some of them are yellowing at the tips. The flower stalks have finished. The whole plant looks like it is past its best and heading downhill. So you decide to help. Feed it, to green it back up. Cut off the tatty leaves to tidy it. Maybe dig it up and split it while you are at it. Do something, because that is what a caring gardener does with a plant that looks like it is struggling. Almost every one of those instincts is wrong in August, and some of them will genuinely cost you next year's plant. Here is what is actually happening inside that hosta, and it changes everything. The plant is not failing. It is winding down on purpose. August is when a hosta begins pulling its energy down out of the leaves and into the crown underground, storing it away to survive winter and to power next spring's growth. The tired look is not a cry for help. It is the beginning of a deliberate retreat, and the plant knows exactly what it is doing. Which means the most useful thing you can do in August is far less than you think, and knowing what not to do matters more than any product on a shelf. Feed it now, and you can actively damage its winter survival. Cut those leaves off now, while they are still green, and you are starving the crown of the energy it is trying to store. The urge to tidy is the single most common way people quietly weaken a hosta in late summer. So this video is about the 4 things a hosta genuinely needs from you in August, and 1 thing you must not do, plus the one that trips up more people than all the rest. Because August is also the peak season for a plant killer that looks exactly like normal dying back. And if you cannot tell the difference, you will either panic over a healthy plant or ignore one that is rotting from the crown out. There is only one thing on this list the plant truly wants more of right now, and I will get to it. The rest is mostly about leaving it alone in the right way. But first, you have to understand why those tatty, yellowing leaves are the most important part of the plant this month, and why cutting them is the mistake. Look at a hosta leaf differently for a second. It is not just decoration, and in August, it is not even really a leaf doing leaf things anymore. It is a solar panel wired to a battery. All season, those big, broad leaves have been catching light and turning it into sugars, and sending most of that energy down into the crown, the fat growing point sitting right at soil level where the leaves all emerge. The crown is the battery. It is the part of the hosta that actually survives the winter, underground, while every leaf you can see dies away completely. And everything the plant will do next spring, every new leaf that unfurls in April, is paid for out of the charge stored in that crown right now. August is the final, critical stretch of charging. The days are still long enough and warm enough that the leaves are working hard, pushing the last big deposits of energy down into storage before the cold shuts everything off. A hosta in August is a plant frantically topping up its battery before a long power cut. That single picture explains almost every instruction in this video. When those leaves start to yellow and fade, that is the plant deliberately draining the last usable energy out of them and moving it into the crown, which is exactly why the leaves look tired. They are being emptied, and a leaf that is still green and standing is still charging, still doing its job, right up until the plant is finished with it. So when someone tells you to cut a hosta back in August to tidy it, understand what that actually does. You are unplugging the solar panels weeks before the battery is full, and then asking the plant to get through winter and explode into growth next spring on a half charge. 2 questions run through the rest of this. What drains the battery, and what protects it? Everything the plant needs in August is one or the other. Number 1, and it is the easiest to get wrong because it feels so generous. Number 1, stop feeding it. If you have not already put the fertilizer away for the year, do it now. This one catches people precisely because it feels like the kind thing to do. The plant looks tired, feeding perks plants up, so surely a feed is exactly what a tired hosta needs. The logic is understandable, and it is completely backwards for this time of year. Fertilizer, nitrogen especially, tells a plant to grow. It pushes out fresh, soft, tender new leaves. In spring, when the hosta is charging up and has a whole season ahead, that is welcome. In August, it is a disaster in slow motion because you are ordering the plant to produce vulnerable new growth at the exact moment it should be shutting down and storing energy instead. That new growth has nowhere to go. It has run out of season. The first hard frost kills it outright, and everything the plant spent producing it is wasted, energy that should have gone into the crown, burned on leaves that lasted a few weeks. Worse, that late feed can actually delay the plant's shift into dormancy, and a hosta needs a proper cold rest to come back well. You are interfering with the plant's own preparation for winter. The cutoff that growers use is the end of July. After that, no feeding, full stop, for the rest of the season. If your hosta is well established in decent soil, it barely needs feeding at all, because these are not hungry plants. A little compost worked in each year usually covers everything they want. There is one honest exception worth naming, and it is about timing rather than a green light. If a hosta is genuinely small, pale, and struggling in poor soil, the answer is still not to feed it now. The answer is to note it and give it a balanced feed next spring as the leaves emerge, which is the only window that actually helps. Feeding a weak plant in August does not rescue it. It just adds a second problem on top of the first. So the first job is the easiest one to do, because it is nothing. Put the bag away until spring. Now, the mistake that costs the most, and the one this whole video has been building toward. Number 2. Do not cut it back. Not now, not while those leaves are still green and standing. This is the big one. The mistake that costs the most, and it is everywhere. Because a lot of well-meaning advice tells you to cut hostas back to help next year's growth. That advice is right about the goal and dangerously wrong about the timing, and the difference is your whole next season. Go back to the battery. Every green leaf on that plant is still a working solar panel, still catching light and pumping energy down into the crown for winter storage. The plant is in the final weeks of charging. Cut those leaves off in August, and you sever the charging cable. All that stored energy the crown was about to receive simply never arrives because you threw the leaves that were making it onto the compost heap. The plant does not die from this. It is tougher than that. What it does is come back weak. Next spring, it emerges smaller, thinner, fewer leaves, less vigor, running on a crown that went into winter half-charged. And here is the trap that keeps people making this mistake year after year. The punishment is delayed. You cut in August, everything looks fine, the plant dies back for winter as expected, and it is only the following spring, 8 months later, that you get a diminished plant with no obvious way to connect the two. So you never suspect the tidying. The leaves have to be allowed to die on the plant. That is not laziness or untidiness, it is the mechanism. The hosta will yellow, then brown, drawing every last usable scrap of energy down into the crown as it goes, and only when a leaf is fully spent does the plant let it go. Your job in August is to let that whole process happen, however scruffy it looks. The correct time to cut a hosta back comes later, after the foliage has collapsed on its own, or after the first hard frost has killed it off. At that point, the leaves have finished their work, the energy is safely stored, and removing the dead material is genuinely helpful, mostly because slimy collapsed hosta leaves left lying over winter are a 5-star hotel for slugs and disease. So the cut is a good idea eventually. Doing it in August is the error. One thing you can tidy right now without any harm: the spent flower stalks, the bare scapes left after the blooms have finished. Those are not feeding the crown, so snip them off at the base if you like the look. Just leave every leaf alone. Now, a quick word, because this comes up constantly with shade plants, and it is the reason this channel exists. Quick one, right here, because hostas almost never grow alone. They are the floor of the shade garden, and the thing standing behind them, in nearly every shady bed in the world, is a hydrangea. The two are companions. If you grow hostas, you very probably grow hydrangeas a few feet away, and that plant causes more quiet heartbreak than anything else in the garden. The reason is the same reason August confuses people with hostas. You cannot give a plant the right care until you know what it actually is. A hosta is winding down and wants to be left alone. A hydrangea looks like one plant, but is really 6 different types wearing one name, and each one is pruned at a different time, wants a different amount of sun, and only some of them can change color at all. So people prune at the wrong moment and remove a whole year of flowers, or chase a color the plant physically cannot produce and blame themselves. I put the honest version in one place. It is called the Hydrangea Mastery Guide, and it does for that plant what this video does for hostas. It sorts all 6 types in about 90 seconds, so you know exactly what is standing behind your hostas. It has the prune by type calendar, so you never cut off next summer by accident. It explains the real reason the color changes, which is not the pH, whatever you were told. And it covers the 5 myths that waste an entire season. 29 pages, $27, instant PDF, 7-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the description at waltgreer.com. It ends the way this channel always does, with the part nobody selling you a miracle will admit. 4 of the 6 types cannot change color no matter what you pour on the soil. Fertilizer will never fix a hydrangea that will not bloom. A guide that only tells you what to do is only half a guide. Now, back to the hostas and the thing that is eating them right now. Number 3. Deal with the slugs, because right now they are doing more visible damage to your hostas than anything else. Those ragged holes chewed through the leaves, the ones that made the plant look tired in the first place, are very often not age at all. They are slugs and snails, and hostas are close to their favorite meal on Earth. You will know it is them by the evidence. Large irregular holes eaten right through the leaf, and the giveaway silvery slime trails left on the foliage and the soil around the plant. Slugs live and work in a specific way, and understanding it is how you get ahead of them. They need damp, and they need dark. They hide during the heat of the day, tucked under leaves, under debris, in any cool, moist shelter they can find, and they come out to feed at night, which is exactly why you rarely see the culprit, only the damage. That daytime hiding habit points straight at something on this very list, and it is worth being careful about. Mulch protects a hosta's roots, and I will recommend it later for winter, but mulch piled up thick against the base of the plant creates the perfect cool, damp daytime hideout for slugs, right at the crown where they can feed all night without traveling. So, mulch is good, but kept back off the crown, not heaped against it. The thing protecting the roots can house the pest if you pile it wrong. The genuinely effective controls are not glamorous. The single most reliable one is to go out after dark with a torch when they are up and feeding, and pick them off by hand into a tub of soapy water. It is grim, and it works better than almost anything else. Beyond that, removing their daytime shelters, keeping the area around the crown clear of collapsed leaves and debris, and watering in the morning rather than the evening all help, because morning watering lets the surface dry before the slugs come out at night, instead of handing them the damp conditions they love in the dark. The honest point is that slug damage and the plant's natural fading can look similar, and confusing the two matters. Holes with slime trails are pests you can act on. A general even yellowing, with no holes, is usually just the plant doing what August plants do. Now, the one thing on this whole list the plant genuinely wants more of. Number 4. Water it deeply, because this is the one thing on the whole list your hosta genuinely wants more of in August. Everything else this month has been about doing less. This is the exception. Hostas are shade and moisture plants at heart, woodland floor plants, built for cool, damp, rich ground. And August is often the hottest, driest stretch of the year, which puts a hosta under exactly the kind of stress it is least built to handle. A hosta trying to charge its crown for winter while baking dry and drought-stressed is a plant doing its most important job with one hand tied behind its back. So keep the water going. The target for an established hosta is a good, deep soak about once a week, and in a genuine heat wave, twice. Deep is the operative word. A long, slow soak that wets the whole root zone does far more good than a quick daily splash, because it draws the roots down and keeps moisture available through the hot days between waterings. Shallow sprinkles just wet the surface and evaporate. Two details matter, and both of them tie back to problems we have already covered. Water at ground level, at the base of the plant, not over the top of the leaves. Wet foliage sitting through a warm night is an open invitation to the fungal diseases that hostas are prone to, and there is a serious one coming up in a moment that thrives in exactly those warm, damp conditions. Keep the leaves dry and put the water in the soil where the roots are. A watering can with the rows taken off, or a soaker hose or drip line, all do this well. And water in the morning rather than the evening. Morning watering lets any splashed foliage dry through the day, and it means the ground is not left cool and damp overnight, which is precisely the condition slugs come out to feed in. One habit, morning watering at the base, quietly works against both the fungus and the slugs at once. A hosta will forgive you for doing nothing else this month. It will not forgive being left to bake dry while it is trying to store next year away. Now, the one that trips up more people than anything else on this list, because it looks exactly like the plant simply dying back. Number 5. Learn to tell normal dying back from a plant killer, because in August they look almost identical, and getting it wrong goes badly in both directions. Here is the trap. A hosta yellowing and fading in late summer is usually just the plant doing what we have been describing all along, draining its leaves and settling toward dormancy. Completely normal. But August is also the peak season for a fungal disease that starts with yellowing, fading leaves, and if you wave that off as normal, the plant can be dead and the infection spreading through your bed before you realize anything was wrong. The disease goes by several names: crown rot, petiole rot, southern blight, all the same fungus living in the soil. And it loves heat. It becomes active above 70 degrees and does its worst damage between the high 80s and mid-90s, which is exactly the weather that lands on most gardens in August. Warm, and made worse by damp, waterlogged soil, which is another reason for the ground-level morning watering from a moment ago. So you need to be able to read the difference, and there are clear tells. Normal dormancy looks like this: a gradual, fairly even yellowing, usually starting with the older, lower leaves, spreading slowly over weeks. The plant fades but stays intact. Nothing is mushy, nothing smells wrong, and the leaves stay attached until they are fully spent. It is a slow, orderly retreat. Crown rot looks different, and once you know the signs, they are unmistakable. The yellowing and browning is faster, and it starts low, at the base. The leaves wilt and then collapse, laying flat on the ground rather than fading upright. And here is the single, clearest test. The leaves pull away from the crown with almost no resistance, because the fungus has rotted through the base of the stalks at soil level. If you tug a fading leaf and it comes free easily with a soft, brown, mushy bottom that is not dormancy, then look right at the soil at the base of the plant. Crown rot leaves evidence there. A white, cottony, cobweb-like mat of fungal threads fanning out across the soil surface, sometimes with a faint, mushroomy smell, and tiny round fungal balls, about the size of mustard seeds, that start creamy white and ripen to a dark, brick red. Those little balls are the survival stage, and they are the reason this matters beyond the one plant. Left in place, they overwinter in the soil and start the whole thing again next year, spreading to healthy hostas and dozens of other perennials nearby. If you find that, no fungicide reliably cures a plant already infected. The honest move is to remove the affected plant along with the soil right around the crown. Get rid of it, do not compost it, and keep those little sclerotia from ripening and scattering through the bed. Clean your tools afterward, because the fungus travels on them. Now, the one-time cutting a hosta back early is actually correct, plus what to do as the season turns. One exception to the no-cutting rule, and then how to close out the season as it turns. There is a single situation where cutting a hosta back in late summer or early autumn is correct: dividing it. If a clump has grown huge or died out in the middle, leaving a bare donut of a plant, division is the fix, and late summer into early fall is a legitimate window for it, because the soil is still warm enough for the roots to reestablish before winter. To divide, you do cut the foliage back to a few inches first, simply because it is impossible to handle otherwise. Then, lift the clump, split it into sections each with roots and healthy crown, and replant. Two honest caveats on that. It has to be done early enough that the divisions get several weeks to root before the ground freezes, so this is an early-in-the-window job, not something to leave until the cold is closing in. And if you do not need to divide, do not. A healthy, well-spaced hosta does not want disturbing in August. Division is a repair, not routine maintenance. For everyone not dividing, the season plays out simply from here. Keep watering deeply through the late summer heat. Keep the slugs down. Leave every leaf on the plant to yellow and fade in its own time. Then, once the foliage has collapsed after the first hard frost, cut away the dead material and clear it off the bed, because rotting hosta leaves leftover winter feed slugs and disease. That frost cleanup is also the moment for mulch, not now. A couple of inches of compost and mulch over the crown after the ground has chilled insulates the roots against the winter freeze and thaw that heaves plants and damages them. Kept back off the crown itself for the slug reasons we covered. Let me pull the whole month together. Before we finish, send this to one person you know who is out there right now cutting their hostas back because the leaves look scruffy. Just the link. They think they are helping, and they are quietly draining next year's plant. Here is the whole month in one idea. A hosta in August is not a plant you tend. It is a plant you protect while it packs itself away for winter. The tired, fading look is the plant deliberately draining its leaves and moving that energy down into the crown, the underground battery that survives the cold and pays for every leaf you get next spring. Your whole job is to guard that process, not interrupt it. So do not feed it. A late feed pushes soft growth that frost kills and delays the dormancy the plant needs, and the cutoff was the end of July. Do not cut it back. Every green leaf is still charging the crown, and tidying them off in August starves next year's plant. Leave the leaves to yellow and die on their own, and cut them only after they have collapsed or a hard frost has finished them. Keep the slugs down, because the holes in those leaves are mostly them, and they hide in damp shade by day and feed at night. Clear the debris, water in the morning, and pick them off after dark if you are losing the battle. Water it deeply, once a week and twice in real heat, at the base and in the morning, because moisture through the late summer heat is the one thing this plant genuinely wants from you now. And watch for crown rot, the killer that hides inside normal-looking dieback. Even gradual yellowing with intact leaves is just dormancy. Fast collapse, mushy bases, leaves that pull away easily, and white fungus with little brick-red balls at the soil line is the disease, and that plant and its soil have to come out before it spreads. Get those right, and your hostas go into winter with a full battery and come back next spring bigger and stronger than they left. The plant does almost all of the work itself. You are just making sure nothing gets in its way. Subscribe and hit the bell and stick around. We do this the honest way here in the Forgotten Knowledge Library, which means telling you when the best thing you can do for a plant is to leave it alone and how to spot the one time you cannot. It is free, and it always will be. And drop a comment telling me the worst slug damage on your hostas this year, or whether you have ever cut yours back too early, because I have made that exact mistake myself. Next time, another plant that looks like it is failing when it is really just getting ready. I will see you in the next one.